You can create a SmartArt graphic to make a visual representation of your information. It's easy and fun. There are many different layouts to communicate your message, concepts, and ideas. And you can create SmartArt graphics throughout the entire Office suite of applications, such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Let's take a look. Let's start off in PowerPoint. You've probably seen and even created your share of slides that contain bulleted lists like this one. This is fine, but wouldn't it be even better to use a SmartArt graphic like this? SmartArt is just as effective as bullets and at the same time, just as easy to create. So in PowerPoint, if you're looking at a slide that has the embedded icons inside of the slide layout, then all you need to do is locate that Insert SmartArt graphic icon, give it a click, and it will produce the options. So there are categories along the left. All will give you all the different possibilities. And if you select one, you'll be able to see what it looks like, maybe with better detail than you see in the initial list, as well as a description of it and what it is used for. So again, there's dozens of them, and you can scroll through and find them. If you have an understanding of what you're looking for, you can go into one of the smaller categories and find the option that you want to use. So it's fun to explore them, definitely. And once you create it, you can always switch it to one of the others as well. So it's not set in stone and can be changed even after you create it. So I'm going to go with converging radio. Here's a sample. Here's an explanation of what that's all about. And you're just going to click on OK to move forward. So what we have here is the basic converging radial sort of option. And what you're going to be able to do is click in and add your text. So like we said, we want SmartArt in the middle. We want, don't worry about the sizing, we can adjust that. We want a few other text items along the way. And we want one more. Unfortunately, it didn't give us one. So to add it, we're just going to use the contextual tools along the top of the ribbon there. The SmartArt tools will be available once you insert a SmartArt graphic into your presentation or your document, etc. We're going to be on the Design tab. And what we want to do is have the center radial selected and choose Add a Shape. Okay, so that will give us the ability then to add, and you could add as many as you want. In many cases, it's limited, but this one will allow us to add as many shapes as we want. How do you know? Well, if it doesn't do anything when you click the Add Shape, then it is a limited. It's limited in the number of options there. So to get rid of one, you just click it to select it and press the Delete key on your keyboard to remove it. So in this one, again, you're just clicking and typing in the text. Okay, so to add text, that is one way to, or to add your SmartArt, that is one way to do it. Once the SmartArt is there, you can adjust it. So if it's the sizing, let me zoom out a little bit there, you can resize the entire container that the SmartArt is in, right? So if you wanted to take up more of the slide, you can go ahead and do that. If you wanted to take up all of the slides, you can, right? Just going to undo that, and we'll do that again in a minute. So the other things that you may want to do is change the position, change the colors, change the textures, and all of that is easy to do. So let's say we wanted effective to be in another position. You select that particular block of your SmartArt, and then you can use the move up or the move down options that are on the left side of the Design tab. And each time you click it, it will change it into a different position. Okay, so again, just select the block or the component in your SmartArt, the shape if you will, and move it up or move it down so that it is in the position you would like it to be in. Okay. If you wanted to also change the colors, there is an option there to change the colors. These will come with whatever theme you have for your design, the design of your presentation, but you can also change them around if you wanted to. Okay, so we'll go with one of those. We can go with a texture, so that's what these styles are all about. They'll give you texture, depth, and again, just hover over it to see what it looks like and click on it to apply it. So maybe something like that, right? If there was an effect that you wanted to add to just one of the shapes, then you can select that shape, right? And you can go ahead and, maybe come up with a different color for it. Just over on the home tab of the ribbon, you are going to be able to find that shape fill option and maybe come up with a different color that you would like to use for your smart art. Again, it's just entirely up to you. You could do this for each and every shape, or just go with the theme options, the colors that the themes will give you. Okay, additionally, if you want to, for example, change the background color of this smart art, then right here, while that shape outline, right, so you can see the outline of that entire smart art. If that is selected and you use that same shape fill option, you'll be able to change the background color for your smart art. And then if you want to resize it so it takes up more of the slide, then you certainly can do that, right? That is an option as well. Other things that you can do, maybe you want to stretch that shape out a little bit, make a little bit of a different shape. You can certainly do that. If you have to move them within the SmartArt container, you can do that. Just click and drag to rearrange these shapes, not a problem. And then if you want to do anything with the fonts, you can select them one at a time. If you want to affect just one, select it. You can change the fonts colors, the sizes, etc. Oops. And, just like you would with regular text on a slide. Okay. And then, of course, if you want to affect all of the text inside, then click the outside container for your smart art. Whoops. And then what you'll be able to do is apply those changes, and it'll affect all of the shapes contained within your smart art. So again, very easy to create, a little bit more interesting than just standard bullets. And once you create your smart art, of course, you can use the tools on the design tab and the format tab to be able to change the colors, etc. If you decide you want to go in another direction with your smart art, you certainly can. Just have the smart art selected, and you can use the option here in the layouts to maybe pick something else. And if you're not sure what you want to go with, just hover over those options and it'll start to show you what it looks like. And if you want to apply it, you can click on OK. Now, these are not the only choices. As you remember, there were significantly more in the initial dialog box. So if you come down to more layouts, you'll be able to get back into that where you're seeing all of the options. I'm going to cancel and maybe do an undo to put it back the way it was. So inserting your smart art, easy to do, easy to manipulate it, right? And then additionally, if you're in a slide layout where you don't have those icons, then that's not a problem. Just go ahead onto the Insert tab of the ribbon and look for that Smart Art button. You'll land in the same place. You can go ahead and find whatever sort of shape you want to go with. Click on OK, and it will insert that in there, and you can use all of the same sort of techniques that we talked about. Last thing inside PowerPoint is this. This only works in PowerPoint. If you have an existing bulleted list and you want to convert it to SmartArt, then you're able to do that. Just select the items in your bulleted list and right-click. On the right-click, you'll see the option right there in the center of that menu where you can convert it to SmartArt. It will give you a limited number of choices, but you can always go down to more SmartArt graphics, and you'll be in the main sort of group where you're able to pick from everything and just pick whichever one you want to go with. Again, I'll just stick with converging radial here. Click on OK. And just to sort of talk about things, if it is not really producing it the exact way you want, and this may not show up initially, if it puts all of the text in there, then maybe what you want to do is open up your text pane and take an item from the bulleted list and demote it, right? So in this case, maybe I want, maybe I even want to add on to this, right? So SmartArt. Maybe I want that to be my main. And then these items, maybe what I'll do is demote them. and they'll become the items around the radial. So you just click on one of your bulleted items and demote them, and you'll end up sort of in the same, just close that when you're done. You can end up with essentially the same thing there. Okay, so there you have it. You're able to easily produce smart art in your PowerPoint presentations, and we'll look at some other apps in just a moment. And in our next example, we're going to look at using SmartArt in a Microsoft Word document. So here we have a little bit of an annual report. This can go into any document, obviously. What you'll do is click where you want the SmartArt to display. And on the Insert tab of the ribbon, you're going to look for that SmartArt button. And then from there, the process is pretty much similar to what we had in our PowerPoint presentation. So a lot of times you may want to have SmartArt again to sort of explain or display your information in a more interesting way. So let's do, for example, an org chart or hierarchy, which is really where SmartArt gets its that's where the history of SmartArt comes from, and that's from the org charts or hierarchy that we did in earlier versions of Office. So there's a couple of different org chart examples that are here, and I'm going to go ahead and go with this one because it will give me an opportunity to show you the picture option within SmartArt. So not every SmartArt option has this. This graphic does. It's called Picture Organization Chart, and it will allow me to put picture and text in each of these org chart boxes. So go ahead and click on OK. And here we have it. And what you're going to be able to do, just like we saw in our PowerPoint, is you're going to be able to resize it. You're going to be able to add your text. You're going to be able to remove boxes that you perhaps don't need. Just clicking to add the text. Okay, and in order to incorporate the picture, you're just going to click the little icon that we see here and go out and find the picture. The pictures I need are on my computer, so I'm going to use the option from a file. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the picture and just repeat that for each of them. So you just click the little tile there that represents the picture, and you're going to be able to bring in the pictures. Okay. Now, in order to add additional features on here, don't forget you have your SmartArt tools. Let me keep that out so we can work with that, right? So on the Design tab and the Format tab, you can manipulate that SmartArt just like we did in PowerPoint. And if you need to add something on, what you want to do is select who that position would report to. So for example, if Anne has a subordinate, someone that works on Anne's team, I could have that Anne SmartArt option there selected, and I can add a shape, and it will go ahead and give me the ability to add a subordinate there. And like we said earlier, if you want to get rid of a shape, you just select it and press the delete key. Okay. So there are additional layouts that you can switch to. So if after formatting this or creating it one way, you wanted to go in a different direction, then you certainly can do that, and you'll have your options there, or go in through more layouts and you can see the entire catalog of SmartArt options. Now we're going to end this session with an example of using SmartArt in Excel. And we're going to use it actually to navigate to different sheets within the Excel spreadsheet. So I have an overview sheet, and I have a bunch of support. I have several supporting sheets as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some SmartArt graphic, and we're going to add hyperlinks to it. So let's take a look at that. So on one tab, the tab that I want to insert the SmartArt, I'm going over to the Insert tab, and I'm going to use the SmartArt option. I'm going to pick the kind of SmartArt that I want, and I'm just going to, for example, pick something like this. Obviously moving it, resizing it, just like we saw in the other examples. I'm going to add my text. just going to copy this so I can get the text in there a little bit quicker. Okay. Just again adding the text for the different sheets. And I have an extra shape that I'm going to get rid of. Just going to select it and press the delete key. So I'm left with my my 4 squares, right? And again, you can change the layouts if you wanted something a little bit more interesting, which we'll get back to in just a moment. You can change the colors. Just make sure you have the entire SmartArt block selected if you're going in there to change your colors, right? And your textures or your styles, I should say, just like we did in the other examples. Okay, so and now what I'd like to do is just maybe make it so that I can click a picture or a part of my SmartArt, excuse me, and have it take me to a specific tab in the spreadsheet. In order to do that, I have to have this SmartArt selected, and on the Design tab, I need to come over here and convert it to shape. So let me just change the SmartArt layout before I do that. I think I want it to look a little bit more like this. Okay. And again, you know, obviously just sort of whatever you want it to look like. Oh, how about that? That looks pretty good. So let's do a couple of additional manipulations before we convert it to shape. For example, maybe, and I did this on the Home tab earlier. You can also do this on the Format tab. If you have that SmartArt selected, you can go ahead and change the shape fill. So maybe I want that to be a specific color. Again, moving it and resizing it, getting it into position. And then what we're going to do is we're going to convert it. So on the Design tab, it's Convert to Shapes. And now they're individual shapes. So I can take this one slice of the pie, for example, and on the Insert tab, assign it a hyperlink. So there's a hyperlink option. And what I'm going to do here, it may not be on the right spot, but over on the left, what you want to do is select Place in this document. And I have the A slice selected, so I want that to link to the A team. I just click the tab or sheet that I want it to link to, click on OK. And then in order to make that work, I just need to, you see the little hand, which typically signifies a hyperlink. Give it a click, and it'll take you to that sheet. If you have to change a hyperlink once you've added it, and this is true anywhere, not just your SmartArt, you should go ahead and right-click it so that you're able to get in there and edit the hyperlink. Because obviously, if you click it, it will just enact the hyperlink. So if this was to the wrong place, I would be able to adjust it through there. So let's do that one more time. Again, we inserted the SmartArt. We converted it to a shape. So now these are individual shapes that can be manipulated on their own. And with each shape that I select, I can go onto the Insert tab and give it a hyperlink. And this is going to go over to a place in this document, and that would be the B sheet or the B tab. Okay. And to test that out, make sure it works, I just need to give it a click, and it will take me to that sheet. Okay. So just another sort of thing that you can do with SmartArt is convert it to a shape so that you can select a specific item within the SmartArt and assign hyperlinks to it. So that's it for today's SmartArt lesson. Thanks, and hope to see you again soon.